Hey, one more thing before you go. In this episode, we're going to delve deep into the realm of scalar energy and its profound impact on holistic wellness. Join us as we explore the groundbreaking research of Tom Paladino. He's a renowned holistic medical expert and a scalar energy researcher. Discover how scalar energy serves as the foundation of the universe, guiding spiritual, cognitive, emotional, and physical actions. Learn how harnessing this divine essence can optimize your health, enhance your well-being, and activate the body's innate healing ability. Don't miss out on this enlightening conversation that promises to revolutionize your understanding of energy and vitality. I'm your host, Michael Herst. Welcome to One More Thing Before You Go. My guest in this episode is Tom Paladino. He's a holistic medical expert, as I said, scalar energy researcher, and humanitarian. He's based in Florida. Tom began researching scalar light during his undergraduate years after developing a deep admiration for the father of scalar light research and development, Nikola Tesla. Thereafter, beginning in 1993, Tom was able to study the research notes as well as operate scalar light instruments developed by another scalar light expert, Galen Hieronymus. Tom attributes much of his success today to these two brilliant scalar light pioneers, Nikola Tesla and Galen Hieronymus. This is the second appearance on the show. You can revisit our episode 230 from November 23rd, 2022 to learn more about scalar energy in totality and some of the many benefits that can incorporate within yourself, in your health, and your well-being. Today, we're going to break down some unique approaches to understanding scalar energy and getting the nutrients we need to thrive and to become better people. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure once again. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, what an amazing, you have created an amazing opportunity for people to really take what's available to us and has always been available to us, but we're not always aware of it, and transform that into something that will help us improve our lives dramatically, actually.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We're going to speak about scalar light, of the light of the sun and the stars. So this is nothing new. It's the fundament of the universe. But now we have a better understanding of that fundament.
Which is a positive thing. I think, we're all connected to the universe. And I talk about that on this podcast consistently, that we're all connected to the universe. And sometimes we just have to open our eyes and our hearts and our souls to understand what the universe has to offer us. So hopefully we can open some doors today.
Yeah.
I hope.
It's that simple. Yeah.
I know that we've talked about this before, but let's a little bit for the new people coming on board and the new watchers, and that's a technical term, the new watchers. Our audience, both audio and video. Let's talk about where you grew up.
Okay. I'm a native New Yorker. I had an idyllic childhood. I had great parents. I had a great environment to grow up in. And that served to provide the foundation for my life. If you train children while they're young and you can inculcate these principles of morality and decency and education, that follows through throughout their entire life. So I have to give my parents a great deal of credit, and my teachers and those in my formative years. They're so instrumental in helping me.
It is a brilliant opportunity, I think, for us to kind of understand the relationship to family as well, because your family supported you,
Yes.
in regard to what you're doing and what you're doing now. And I think that the family dynamic helps us to be better people towards each other.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. Where'd you get your training? Where did you go to school?
In my collegiate career, I attended 3 universities, and then I did, I would say, graduate work, and at that time it was correspondence school back in the 90s, and at the turn of the century, probably 10 different universities. So if you will, after my what I consider classical education, I had the opportunity to study on weekends and study at night. I had to work for a living. But all of that, you put all of that together, I was probably at the collegiate level for a good 15, 16 years. And I relish every moment of it. And the key to that is it's a well-rounded education. Anybody should embrace any type of education, and I have. And I call to mind every college professor I've ever worked with or any college student I ever worked with. Again, that was part of my formation. It gave me the ability for critical thinking, which is crucial to invention, crucial to design. You have to be able to not only have this art of critical thinking, but the ability to act upon it and to, if you will, discover what's never been discovered. That's the key to my research. It's all groundbreaking. Critical thinking, but the willingness to try something new.
Well, and I, again, and as I said earlier when we first started, the reality is this is available to us. You can harness that power. You help to harness that power to give us what we need in order to kind of utilize that and open our eyes, our minds, our souls, our ability to be able to move our lives forward in a positive way from that perspective. I know that scalar. Let's learn a little bit more about scalar energy for those individuals who are new to the show. I know that you theorize all energy in the universe initiates as scalar energy, and that the sun of our solar system and the stars, as you mentioned earlier, are the points of origin. How does that affect us individually?
Yeah. Looking at that question in a cause and effect relationship and a priori. If we look at the cause of nature, then we have a better understanding what it will do and how creation, if you will, evolves. Well, what am I getting at? Light energy is fundamental. The cause, light. The effect is creation. Now, if my theory is correct that all light initiates as scalar light, then scalar light is the animating force of everything. And I believe I can prove that, at least in part, because scalar energy is the animating force of the stars. And where do we receive all of our energy? The stars. Where are the points of origin for energy? The stars. So if my contention is correct that star energy is scalar energy, then I'm on to something gigantic. The stars dictate nature, plain and simple. The energy from the stars are fundamental. Nothing else is fundamental. Only light is fundamental. Where does light originate from? The stars. If that star energy is scalar energy, then I have discovered the animating force of the universe. Very important.
It is. How does that affect us? And I know, we go out and we're told that the doctors, and we're told by society, we're told by everyone that, for example, we need to get a lot of vitamin D. We get a lot of vitamin D or some other nutrients when we go outside. So we're encouraged to spend as much time as we can outside within reason, to gain nutrients in like vitamin D and vitamin E and things like this. How does and when I ask this question, I'm just trying to understand that as well. So how do we get the energy from the stars from that perspective?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? A good question, a right question?
How do we receive this energy from the stars? Good point. Scalar energy permeates everything. It's everywhere. It's really the blanket of the universe. So what am I getting at? It is not electromagnetic. Electromagnetic energy travels from a distance. There's an actual top speed, velocity, if you will, of 186,000 miles per second. Okay? So that is a different dimension, electromagnetic energy. Scalar energy blankets the universe instantaneously. So we're really working with the presence of a force field that is universal. Now, on account of the fact that this is a universal force field, it carries universal information, including the information to form a vitamin, to form an antioxidant. So if my contention is correct, that scalar energy is the intelligence, the instantaneous intelligence of the universe, then we are dependent upon that energy, that instantaneous intelligence, to form nutrients, to survive. All biological functions, all spiritual functions are, if you will, mandated by this energy. I can't stress enough that there's something greater than our chemical processes, that there's something that transcends physical man. It's instructions from the stars, and those instructions are non physical. So I work at the non physical, not the physical level. The non physical level allows me to have a command over nature. This is what Nikola Tesla, discovered. That scalar energy is the radiant energy of the universe. He described it, if you will, as the primal force. Tesla knew that this energy emanated from the sun, from the stars.
Well, I wholeheartedly believe that we're all energy. We as individual beings, I believe, are energy as well. So it makes sense to me that if we are beings of energy, that it's easier for us to connect with that energy from the universe and understand it and have a relationship with it. Basically, I mean, that might be the right word, relationship with it, but we have an understanding from that perspective, I do believe. So, in understanding that, I know that you in some of my notes that I had in regard to our other conversations and some new ones, you talk about how astronauts of Apollo 8 received nutrients by scalar energy when they went to the moon. So,
Yes.
I find it extremely interesting knowing how energy works on the Earth, knowing that, the that's how grass grows, that's how trees grow, that's how plants grow, that's how animals, grow. That's how we grow. That's how we continue to build ourselves. So help me understand that way, because I'm fascinated both with space, number one. Ever since I was a kid, I watched, every time the rocket went up, I watched them land on the moon. You see, my hands are moving everywhere. You can't see them move. That's my Italian talking. I got excited. So, how did they receive nutrients by scalar energy, and did they know they were doing that?
Yeah, they did. Actually, the the inventor of this instrument behind me, his name is Galen Hieronymus. In many ways, I copied his instrument. Galen Hieronymus was working hand in hand with NASA. And in so doing, Galen Hieronymus was able to secure photographs of the Apollo 11 astronauts. Now, the instrument that I'm referring to, a scalar light instrument, only works with photographs because a photograph has an energy field attached to it. So the answer to the question, the astronauts knew that they were being conducting an experiment while they were on the moon, orbiting the moon. And in so doing, with scalar energy, you send instructions now. Everything is non-physical. And doing this Apollo 11 lunar mission, Dr. Hieronymus and his wife were able to monitor the biorhythms of the astronauts while they were on the surface of the moon or orbiting the moon. They were also able to send nutrients to these astronauts. Now, can that be explained by Newtonian physics? No. This is not electromagnetic energy. Scalar energy does not follow the laws of Newtonian physics. It's not Newtonian. Scalar energy abides by different properties, different laws, in which information, which is instantaneous, keep in mind scalar energy is instantaneous information, can access astronauts anywhere. They're 250,000 miles away or they're 5 light years away. It doesn't matter. Everything is instantaneous communication, so there's no time lag. And if whatever you want to send by way of information, you can do so. And the photograph, if you will, represents the energetic field, not the biological field, the energetic field. So if we're working always at the level of energy and not at the biological plane, the energetic field is the cause, ultimately, of everything else, including the spiritual, the emotional, the biological. So in review, my predecessor, Dr. Hieronymus, conducted an experiment on the Apollo 11 astronauts. He was able to monitor their biorhythms because their biorhythms are embedded on a photograph. And regardless of the location of the astronauts, the force field, which is instantaneous communication, the force field on the photographs allowed instantaneous communication and monitoring of the astronauts regardless of their distance from the Earth.
It's amazing, actually. That I mean, that it blows my mind, to a point, because it's like it is, and dare I say this, is when you think about it in those terms, your body and your mind kind of goes, that's almost unfathomable. But then when you understand the Earth, you understand the energy, you understand the moon and the stars and how everything plays together. I mean, we've been studying the stars since the beginning of time. We've been discovering stars and monitoring stars and positions and how it affects us, and coming up with the astrological. I mean, this is a lot from scalar energy, but they felt that astrological signs. This is what's going to happen to a Libra this month. This is what's going to happen to Sagittarius this month. I think is that kind of all connected from an energy perspective?
Yes. Now, if the stars are the source of energy of the universe, I say they are, and that energy, scalar energy, carries instructions, infinite instructions instantaneously, then yes, that dictates everything, including our biorhythms, including our future. Yes, the stars are past, present, and future reporters of all action.
Oh, see,
We
that's
could look,
cool.
yes, we could look back into the past and look at the star record and understand what happened in the past through the record of the stars. Or we could fast forward and we could see the projection of time, the projection of what will happen in the future. All of that, some people call that the mind of God, the Akashic record. All of that points to this instantaneous communication system, whether it's past, present, or future. All information is found in this cloud. We speak about computers that have clouds.
Yeah.
That's an incredible accomplishment for man. God's cloud is the infinite universe. God's cloud is the infinite instantaneous communication of scalar light. There's no comparison.
That's just crazy cool is what that is. I mean, you can't help but love your job.
Yeah, oh, I do. It's playtime every day. I love what I'm doing. It's not
Yeah,
laborious. I enjoy. I research sometimes 12 hours a day. I wish I had an extra 12 hours. Every day is exciting. Every day is an unfolding. I learn something every day. I wish the world would come to grips with this and understand that if we can go back, if you will, to the first cause, which is light, it's always energy, light, and go back to scalar light, scalar energy, we'll have a firm understanding of the universe. The only way you can understand the effect is you go back to the cause.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, think of the first words, and then there was light.
Yeah,
There it is, and so it's starts with light.
yeah, that's
That's
it.
pretty cool, actually. Can you help us understand? I know that I am a firm believer in holistic health and holistic well-being, and I think that the universe presents to us the opportunity for us to be able to heal from just about anything. I've dealt with rheumatoid arthritis for the last 28 years now, somewhere thereabouts. I had to think about that and add it up. I don't like math sometimes. But 28 years I've been dealing with this, and I've been managing it. They put me on a series of drugs for a long time, and those drugs just were nasty to me. And I was lucky enough and able to get off of those drugs that they were giving me, which may or may not be beneficial to other people. But in my particular case, I chose to get off of them and go more of a holistic, naturopathic way. And have found that eating the right foods and getting the right amount of sun, getting the right amount of exercise and so forth, and enjoying nature, that it allows me to manage my health in a very more a better positive way than I had previously, without the detriment of all those drugs. So that was a long way to get around to this. You talk about scalar energy being the golden ticket to heal.
Yes.
So everything that I just told you about what I've been doing and practicing by myself seems to be that communication. When you mentioned earlier, it's all instantaneous knowledge and communication. That seems to me the universe has been talking to me for a little while. How does everybody else tap into that?
Yeah. Well, you're right. Let me start off by saying when we think or feel, that's a scalar light, scalar energy demonstration. Our thoughts, our emotions are driven, are animated by scalar energy. So every time we think, it's a scalar wave. Every time we feel, we're propagating a scalar wave. Okay. So in many ways, our physical health, our emotional health, our mental health is, if you will, governed by scalar energy, scalar light, because that's what drives our thinking, our psychology. That's what drives our emotions. Now, if that's true, and I believe it is, then scalar energy also has to be the driving force of our physical body. So what's the point? I'm going back now to my earlier statement. This is instantaneous intelligence communication. Now, that instantaneous communication should help us soul, mind, and body. And if we have perfect intelligence, perfect communication, then we'll have a perfect soul, mind, and body. We will improve our health, soul, mind, and body. Why? We're working at the cause. If you will, we're driving the car, we're not pushing the car. How do we drive the car? With scalar energy. So it's my contention that eventually, once we have a firm understanding of scalar energy, scalar light, and how to control it, and how to harness it and administer it, then we will indeed be administering perfect instantaneous instructions, or perfect intelligence. And that perfect intelligence should, if you will, lead to perfect soul, mind, and body, perfect spiritual, mental, physical health. I mean every word of that, because there's something that has to animate the spirit, the soul, the mind, and the spirit, and the body, excuse me. So what is the animating, what is the guiding light? It's always scalar light that drives, that animates the soul, mind, and body. Okay? So if that's true, we simply have to go back and we have to use that perfect intelligence for soul, mind, and body. And once we understand that perfect intelligence, then we will be able to correct spiritual, mental, physical ailments. I firmly believe disease begins at an energetic level of intelligence, and then it will eventually manifest as psychological or physical. Why not go to the cause, the intelligence? Something was wrong with the intelligence, or the intelligence is not properly being administered or assimilated. Why not go back to the cause and correct the cause with scalar light? It's much easier driving the car than it is pushing the car. Go back to the cause. Don't work at disease at the chemical level. At the chemical level, you're pushing the car. At the scalar level, you're driving the car. That's the cause. Why concentrate so much on the effect? That doesn't make sense.
So, can you help me understand? When we talk about disease, and I just mentioned mine, it's an autoimmune disorder. What kind of disease can you go back and help people to get a better management of that with scalar energy? If I can ask, and not to nail it down, because we're obviously, this is new to me too, to understand it from this perspective. But what kind of mind body balance can you get? Mind body soul balance can you get in order to help clear up what kind of disease? May I ask?
In theory, I would say everything. Why? Because everything starts with light. The animating force of everything, including disease, is light, energy. So once we understand and have a firm understanding of scalar light and how to apply this or how to assume this, then we should, with scalar light, which are perfect instructions, light cannot make a mistake, with scalar light imparting perfect instructions, eventually we should have a perfect soul, mind, and body. I'm working towards that ideal. As of this recording, I'm starting to unfold a new, what I call divine intelligence, a new program that I've been able to tap into through experimentation, and I think I have greater command over this divine intelligence.
It's a
And
good thing.
if that's correct, I'll let you know within the next year if this divine intelligence has an influence and a favorable influence on soul, mind, and body.
Yeah, we all have to have a balance between that the soul, mind, and the body. And I think the only way to really operate efficiently and effectively, not that I mean we're human beings, so we're meant to operate efficiently and effectively. We're meant to blend that mind, body, and the soul aspect of our lives in order to help us to have a good day every day, kind of a situation. How I know it's a medicinal gift from the universe, and I'm starting to understand that and how that kind of relates within itself. The what you're working toward now is brilliant. I think that you and absolutely you're going to have to please keep in touch with me in regard to that, or I'll follow up with you in regard to that because I think that mind, body, soul connection is the key to everything. And I think that if you find a path from a divine perspective that allows us to have mind, body, soul connection like that, that
Yes.
it will improve our lives in so many ways, like you said, mentally, physically, emotionally, our
Yeah.
relationships, the way we eat, the way we function in a daily life. What a brilliant opportunity for us to be able to, like you said, drive the car instead of pushing it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I can't emphasize enough, and don't think I'm in any way speaking ill of anyone. Modern day medicine or modern day psychology is sadly still working at the physical level, or if you will, trying to have manipulation at the chemical level, or even through surgery. Okay, I understand. There's a higher order of intelligence. Why not work at the cause? That's what scalar energy is to me, the cause, the higher order. If I am successful, I'll let you know within a year. This new program that I'm unfolding, it's
Yeah.
enhanced scalar light healing. All of my work is non-physical. All of my work is through photographs. I don't work in a biological sense. All of my work is with energy fields. That's the key to my work.
And it helps us understand that process. So if you were to take somebody on, for example, so that we all have an understanding, for example, me, if I was to become a client of yours, I know that we're going to talk about an offer that you've got here shortly, but what would I do? I would send you a photograph, and then you would take that photograph and do what with it?
Yeah, yeah. There are some functions with this instrument behind me that are manual, some that I've developed. I'm going to give the audience a for instance. If people were to email me their photograph, again, the photograph has the infinite intelligence, the instantaneous instructions are on my photograph. If I were to take a photograph of spinach and place it side by side my photograph, there's a sharing of information of the spinach with my force field. The two communicate, not in a chemical sense, energetically. This is how I achieve my energy, my nutrition from spinach, not necessarily by eating spinach, but by downloading the energy field of spinach into my force field, into my energy field. So you can either eat spinach in a biological sense, okay, it's physical, obviously, or you can receive your spinach energetically through the quantum field. Both are valid.
That's fair. I mean, that's fascinating. I think the opportunity for somebody to be able to get the nutrients that they need, for example, from that perspective. So I'm assuming that you have individuals that you work with that are maybe nutrient deficient for whatever reason, whether they've gone through something, whether it be disease or physical ailments or cancer patients, for example. I know that my sister just went through a whole slew of chemotherapy and some radiation, which depleted her, her nutrients. I mean, you could see it. She could feel it. You could see it, something like that. Is this an opportunity for somebody that's gone through something like that to be able to kind of replace those?
Yes, yes, it is. Why? Because regardless of the medical intervention, when you're working with light, You don't have to worry about the chemical body. You don't have to worry about metabolism. When I administer the energy of spinach, it has nothing to do with a person's current state of being, their current state of health. It does not have to interface with any metabolic process. The delivery system is not by way of the circulatory system. I deliver spinach energetically through the force field or through the energy field of a person's photograph. Now, that is not a biological function, that's a quantum function. So, my point is, regardless of your condition, even if you've had cancer, we overcome the physical barriers. Nothing can stop light. And I administer the energy, the light energy of spinach by light. Light is fundamental.
How do you determine, just so people again understand the process that you're doing, how do you determine if somebody is deficient in certain areas? Do you have a way through this machine, your instrument, to allow you to look at that photograph and it analyzes it, and then it will tell you where the deficiencies are and where you need to replace?
Yeah. The instrument will allow me to identify a nutritional deficiency. However, I've gotten to the point where I don't do that. I simply rely upon the corrective energy to replace that deficiency. When I am operating this instrument, to be very clear, there's no human reasoning. This is divine energy. God does not need my advice. Energy is fundamental. Okay? When you turn on a light switch, you do not instruct the electrons, do you? No. You don't instruct the electrical field. No. Well, likewise, with my light instrument, I don't instruct the divine energy, the divine intelligence, how to operate. Now, I'm not saying this to be facetious. I'm going somewhere with this. Light energy never makes a mistake. Okay? Light is fundamental. It obeys the laws of science. It's perfect. The laws of science are immutable. Why would I want to put my human reasoning in the way of something that's fundamental? To answer my own question, I don't. I get out of the way. Light, the divine instructions, does all the work. There's no human reasoning with my instrument. This instrument, if I ask this instrument to illuminate a light bulb in my hand, it will do so. This is divine energy. So the point is, there's no human interaction. The instrument, the energy, does all the work. Hence, I am mistake proof. I want your audience to hear that clearly. I'll repeat it. When I work with light, light is perfect. Perfect energy, perfect instructions. There's no human reasoning, hence there's no room for human error. My work is perfect because the energy is perfect. I can never fail.
Well, and in my opinion, that's an opportunity for us to take advantage of what's available to us from that perspective. I mean, it's, I think, what was it in the notes that you told me? Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's something like 350 or 360 nutrients that Scalar Energy can identify and either help to replace within your body. So it automatically, when I say I guess, how do you refer to it? It's not really an it. Scalar Energy kind of has the intelligence, as you said, to understand by examining what is there and what isn't there, and then filling the gaps,
Yes.
if I'm understanding this correctly, filling the gaps that need to be filled in order to be optimal.
Yes. Correct. Correct.
Very
Okay.
cool. See, that's just
So
cool.
to expand upon that, if I have photographs of over 350 micronutrients, and I do, the energy field of riboflavin is always imparted to my energy field. So once again, there's no human interpretation with this work. So I have 350 photographs with divine intelligence. And that divine intelligence is downloaded, is imparted in my energy field. Not a chemical process, it's always light. And in so doing, I do not have to do any work. There's no reasoning on my part. And the proportion, how much riboflavin is imparted, is out of my control. The energy will dictate how much riboflavin needs to be downloaded, or how much, if you will, beta carotene needs to be downloaded. All of that is decided by the energy. Now that's beautiful, because when you turn on a light switch, you don't tell the electrons how to behave. And when I turn on my instrument, I don't tell the intelligence how to behave.
Yeah, that's a brilliant. I mean, it's just brilliant the way it all comes together. I find it very fascinating how it moves around, how it corrects our bodies. Now, can it? Let me try that in English. See, I'm getting too excited again. Tongue tied. How or can it balance our chakras? Because I know chakras. I talk a lot on this podcast with other individuals that balance chakras. That the chakras are energy. So does it work with your chakras, and does it balance people
Yeah.
from that perspective as well?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And again, what are chakras? To define the term, I believe they're points of light. They spin. Chakras spin. Well, let me show you a photograph of scalar energy. It's a double helix. Scalar energy spins. That's a photograph of the scalar wave. There's a Tesla coil that produced this double helix scalar wave.
That's amazing.
Now, what does that look like? Well, a lot of people think it says it looks like chakras. I think it looks like a chakra in some way.
I believe this. I believe so. I can see that in that.
And if we have 7 chakras, those 7 chakras are animated by scalar energy. Our 7 chakras are 7 spinning vortices that are controlled by scalar energy. So when I place a person's photograph inside this instrument, immediately there's a download of scalar intelligence. That's the scalar intelligence. If I can light up a light bulb, then I can light up my chakras.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You only can do that with a scalar energy instrument. If I place my photograph inside this instrument, it will behave as such. If I place my photograph inside a refrigerator, nothing's going to happen. A refrigerator is electromagnetic energy. You can balance your chakras with the scalar energy instrument. You cannot balance your chakras with a refrigerator. That's what is unique about my work. I don't work with electricity.
Yeah, that's like that's mind blowing. That's from that perspective. I mean, I believe in chakras. I believe in balancing chakras, and looking at it from that perspective, you gave me a new view of chakras. And in the energy photo that you showed me, with it did look like a double helix, but it also looked like the little circles of the chakras going up. People can't see me doing this with my hands, but going up the scale there. That is pretty damn cool, actually.
This is DNA. Take a good look at DNA. What do you see?
Well, it
It's a
looked just like the
scalar.
light that you just showed up, the picture that
Yes,
you had.
it's a standing scalar wave. What creates DNA? Scalar energy. Do you see the same pattern? Ratio and proportion. So what is our DNA molecule? It's scalar energy. The infinite instructions of scalar energy are responsible for our genome. This is why the genome is so complicated but eloquent. You think it's any coincidence that scalar energy is a double helix and the identical ratio and proportion is that of the human genome? Is that a coincidence? No, that's intelligent design.
Yeah, that's amazing. Actually, I say it blows my mind. And now I see why you want to work 12 more hours a day.
Yeah,
It's-
it's fun. I am on the
uh,
precipice of discovering the animating force of the universe and how that applies to nature. I am in the driver's seat of nature. I don't work with chemicals. I work in the driver's seat. I'm in the command center of the universe.
I'm going to pause you for 1 second because
So with scalar energy, I'm in the command center. Scalar energy commands nature. If I have an instrument that commands scalar energy, then I have an instrument that commands nature. And in so doing, I can do so much for the soul, mind, and body. That's what makes me so excited about my research.
About everything. I don't blame you. I understand that. Like saying, just I said earlier, I can see why you want to work. I mean, 25, 30, 40 hours a day.
It's to me, it's all consuming. It's like, oh my goodness, what a gift from God! What God has given me.
Well, and realistically, yeah, when you think about that, it's a gift from the universe. It's a gift from God. You have an opportunity to help and change people's lives for the better in a positive way, in a natural
Yes.
way, in a holistic way, and nothing to do with my experience with chemicals in the beginning, obviously in the beginning of my journey, it was, listen to the doctor, do what the doctor says. The doctor says, take this medicine, and that's what you do until you learn that that's not always what you do. And I'm not advocating for anybody out there to say, hey, stop your medicine. I'm not saying that, just to be clear. What I'm saying is that sometimes there's alternative options and opportunities for us to be able to heal from another level in another perspective, and you present that. What kind of stuff if you don't mind, we can get into really quick here. I know that you offer many, many programs. One of them is, which I find very fascinating, I've got it up here, natural foods, and how does that work? How do you incorporate scalar energy into natural foods, and how can we incorporate that within ourselves, within our diet?
Yeah. Before I get into it, all of my work is not to replace eating healthful natural foods. So I'm going to go back to my presentation. I actually take photographs of natural foods. That's spinach. Here's a tomato. Now, the energy of a tomato, including the phytochemicals, the amino acids, the hormones, all of that has energy, specific energy that can be imparted in a person's photograph. Okay. So if I take a tomato and place it in my instrument, there's always an instantaneous communication between the two energy fields, between the two, if you will, forms of intelligence. It's a body of intelligence. So I have discovered that chemically, what we eat can be, if you will, some way augmented with receiving energy through scalar light, through light. So the benefit of eating food is a chemical response. I understand that receiving the energy of a tomato is an energetic response. Both are favorable, okay? And both have, if you will, this nutritive effect. Now, can I prove that yet? Well, I can prove it by favorable testimonies of people. As a new science, it's still hard to prove a rigorous scientific examination. But nonetheless, people feel better. Some people say that their fingernails are stronger. Why? Because you're finally delivering nutrients, I believe, by way of this intelligence, or their facial their face is clear, their complexion clears up, or they start growing hair again. All of that is some type of expression that energetically they're receiving the nutrients that they need.
Which is a positive thing. What about somebody that has, let's say, they can't do nightshade or something like that? Does that have an effect on that? So if you have an allergy to
Good point.
nightshade, for example, and how it affects your body when you eat it, does it have the same effect if you process it the way you would do?
Whether it's tomato or eggplant, nobody has a biological reaction because we're not working at the biological level. We're not working
Right.
at the chemical level. I've worked with millions of people without equivocation. I've never had a chemical reaction. I've never had an allergic reaction. I've never had a food allergy.
Yeah,
Never.
which
Why? It's a different type of action. It's
different
not
way.
chemical.
Yeah, which is amazing because obviously you get the nutrients that you need from something that you may not be able to physically eat, physically consume, but you still get the nutrients that are valuable to you and the ones that help your heart, your lungs, your circulation, your eyesight, whatever benefit that you get from that, it comes from that direction. That's pretty slick, actually. How can somebody reach out to you if they needed to? I know that you have an offer as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the website is scalarlight.com. Anybody can visit the website. We offer 15 days of free sessions to anybody in the world. And we do that because we want people to be happy. We want people to demonstrate to themselves that there's some type of healing power to this energy. Visit the website. Anybody can upload. Email us your photograph. You can include your pets. We let you decide. That's the key. You decide.
And I think choice is a valuable thing because when you make a choice to move forward in life, you're the one that's taking the first step to that choice. And realistically, it's more beneficial, I think, in balancing your mind, your body, and your soul, which is your ultimate goal, which I think is an amazing opportunity for people to come in. So I'll make sure everybody, that's in the show notes for everybody so they can just click on that link and then follow it directly to your site and maybe, connect with you. Do you have any tips or anything that you can help us to understand the first step in connecting with scalar energy?
Yeah, and I say this frequently. Everybody's a scalar light expert. Everybody's a scalar energy expert. The human mind operates on scalar energy. What is a thought? What is thinking? It's some type of scalar wave. It's some type of scalar intelligence, including the heart, including the emotions. So our mind and our heart, our feelings, our thoughts and our feelings are driven by scalar energy. So put that into perspective, people. We are scalar energy beings. Okay, so the point is what? We already have a command of scalar energy. Yeah, I realize that you don't have an instrument in your laboratory. I do. I get that. But nonetheless, everybody has scalar energy expertise. Everybody can think and feel. Everyone is a scalar energy, scalar light, scalar energy expert. Everybody. Once we embrace that concept, the world will be the better. So you now see how important this energy is. It drives your mind and your heart. It's responsible for all intellectual processes. It's responsible for your emotions, your feelings. And we didn't realize that, did we? Now we do.
Yeah. Now we do. And realistically, we are that instrument. We don't, you've got one in your laboratory to assist, but in reality, we've got our own instrument that we just need to understand how to use it, which is a good thing. This is one more thing before you go. Before we leave, you have any words of wisdom?
Yeah. Think well, feel well. Every day, I've had goals today. I had a pretty good day. I've met my goals. I've been happy. I've had a nice outlook on life. I think well and I feel well. And guess what? I had a great day today because I put my thoughts and my emotions into motion, so to speak, and I kept it positive and I kept it, if you will, focus on the divine, and I gave God the glory. And if I can do it, you can do it. You do it all the time, people. Now there's a science to this. It's scalar waves that drive the mind. It's scalar waves that drive the heart. Don't forget that.
Brilliant words of wisdom. Brilliant. Tom, thank you very much for coming on the show again. I really appreciate it. You've enlightened me even more so than the one we had in 2022. For everyone else that's out there, please check out that other episode as well. We go a little more in depth on a whole many other benefits that are available to you through scalar energy, and take advantage of the 15-day trial, or the 15-day opportunity for you to be able to improve your life. So, Tom, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
Everyone else out there, thank you very much for being part of One More Thing Before You Go. And one more thing before you all go, have a great day, have a great week, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for listening to this episode of One More Thing Before You Go. Check out our website at beforeyougopodcast.com. You can find us as well as subscribe to the program and rate us on your favorite podcast listening platform.